Welcome, everybody. Welcome aboard. I feel good about this one. We'll wait and see how things do, of course, but I feel good about today's hangout. And it's been over a week since the last one, so I'm doing the weekly podcast on Apple Podcast and Spotify, and then that also goes up on YouTube. And then aside from that, I try to do a weekly or so live stream with you guys over here. And so I see all these things sort of working in concert with each other. Like you can grab my weekly podcast when you feel like it. And when you happen to get the notification, you can hang out on one of these live streams and see what we're up to. But yeah, I see it as kind of a complementary media offering. Let's get those numbers up. Thumbs up. Get good numbers today. We have much to discuss. And if you haven't yet added your email address over on Substack, I'll put a link to that in the troll box. There you go. Clickable link. Uh, see, close to 4,000 of you now have followed on Substack and given your email addresses. You get my updates through there. So that's great to see that growing. But yeah, so we want to be careful not to become losers as a country and as a movement. We don't want to become losers. And there's a mind virus. This is a virus that's afflicting people on the right more than people on the left. But it's a mind virus, little different from wokeism, and probably more damaging in terms of what it's going to do to our economy. And I'll explain it to you guys once we get the numbers up. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up a little over 1,000 points today, gain of a little over 1,016 points. The Nasdaq also up, closed up 429 points and change. And this is totally consistent with what I've been predicting, what I've been saying and predicting. This is completely consistent, right? We have a multi-month market drop because Trump's tariff policy is so disastrous. Multi-month drop, and then you have some relief rallies. So it's not a vertical drop because people's opinions differ. Some people think that this is less bad than I do, and there are some people who think it's even worse than I think it is. And so, because of the variation in opinion, you don't see everybody exit the market 100% on day one. But the collective response to these tariffs has been we're basically now in what? A recession, a depression. You look at the numbers, people aren't really feeling it yet necessarily, unless your business has had to lay people off. But there's 12 or 13 trillion dollars less out there than just back in January. And I know from Trump, I wanted the Epstein list because he promised that and it never came. It's now been months. Wanted the Epstein list. I wanted the audit of Fort Knox gold. I didn't initially want that, but since Trump came out and promised it to us and said he was going to fly down there with Elon Musk and check it out, I thought, hey, that's actually really cool. It's actually a really cool idea. Again, it's not something I was asking for. It's something the president randomly promised us. We're nowhere on that. We're going to get answers on all the mass UFO sightings in New Jersey, the orbs that mysteriously went away. He said he would give us the answers on that on day one. We never got the answers. Uh, his FBI director pick, Kash Patel, he said he would turn the FBI bureau or the Washington bureau, the FBI, into a deep state museum on day one, that he would shut it down and turn it into a museum. He didn't do that. He has been just the weird, obsequious institutionalist kissing the butts of the people who work for him. It's very strange how Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have worked out to not be the real deal at all. Zero arrests, zero. Same with Pam Bondi, the attorney general. The attorney general who was attorney general of Florida when Jeffrey Epstein was operating, was when he was flying girls in and out of Florida. She was the attorney general, and she did nothing at the time. And so I'm not impressed. He's destroyed the stock market. Again, you might not see the immediate impact of this, and it's good that things like Bitcoin and gold have done so well in response. But you will see an impact. You know, the stores are going to have less stuff on them, and not in the distant future either. So I want to address this mind virus that I'm seeing popping up everywhere, and it's so toxic and bizarre. So this is a comment on one of my recent videos about the stock market collapse. We don't care, David. We're normal people. Well, let's not call ourselves that, right? Because this person doesn't seem normal to me. This seems like what I'm about to read to you, by the way. It seems like some kind of pathology, right? This is not a normal person. This is a person with a lot of issues. So we don't care, David. We're normal people, and we don't care if it makes us poor, meaning Trump's tariff policy. Don't care if it makes us poor. Get that through your head. In fact, I hope it tanks us worse than the Great Depression. Here you have Trump supporters hoping that Trump's policies make us worse off than the Great Depression. And these are people who were complaining about the price of eggs. Till recently, they were complaining about the price of eggs and the cost of taking public transportation. And now they don't care if things end up worse than the Great Depression. Allow me to keep reading. It's not about money anymore. This is not about economics, and you don't get it. I want my food to be more expensive. You don't get it. We do not care even 1%. I want my food to be more expensive, impossible to buy even. Whether a troll or not, I've seen a lot of comments like this from these weird MAGA nihilists who say, "This is what we wanted. We want the store shelves empty. We want the young workers unemployed." And I'm just like, who the F are you people? This isn't what I heard on the campaign trail. I didn't hear some Bane like movement to shut down the West. It's not what I was sold on. Again, this person saying they want their food to be more expensive. They don't care if it's impossible to buy food. You're in a cult, sir or ma'am. You might be in a cult. And I never supported Joe Biden, but shit, he never demanded this kind of loyalty from us. And so part of the mind virus is that comment that I just read to you. These are weird kamikaze MAGA fascists. They became the people that the left warned us about. They're anti-capital, they're anti-worker, they don't care if the whole country goes up in flames. Who the F are these people? They just came out of the woodwork and they're saying, "Yeah, this is what we wanted. This is what we support. Less jobs, less money." What the F are we doing? Again, we wanted the Epstein list. We didn't get that. We wanted takedown of the deep state. We didn't get that. Lower taxes. These tariffs are the biggest tax increase in a century. Biggest tax increase in a century because they're front loaded. If someone wants to sell TVs in their town, if they want to sell the latest and greatest television sets, they have to pay the tariff before they sell it to a customer. So that's going to disincentivize all aside from Walmart and Amazon and the other big boys. It's going to disincentivize anybody else from being able to do business in America. There goes Main Street. There goes small business, even medium sized business, right? This again is a very simple concept. The inventory in your store, if you have to pay 200% plus tariff on that before you've even sold it, you can't stay in business. And so it advantages the companies like Walmart that have enough money that they can use it as float, right? And they can hopefully get by for a time. But even for them, there's no long term solution unless they want to jack their prices by 200%, which you have some pretty unhappy people at Sam's Club and Walmart if everything goes up by 200%. And all this, he's a 5D chess player and just wait and see. No, I'm tired of being told my whole fucking life by boomers to wait and see. I'm almost 40 years old, to reveal ages here. I'm almost 40 years old. I'm tired of being told by conservative leaning boomers to just wait and see. Literally half my life is gone. When do we see results? I mean, I'm not asking for much. Just lower the taxes a little bit. Oh, okay. Biggest tax increase in a century. It's not what he said. He said he was going to get rid of the income tax. Now we have to pay income tax. And on top of that, it's impossible to run a business where you actually sell anything. That's what these tariffs have done. It's weird. It's like if you were to just have some Manchurian candidate, and the purpose of this candidate is to peacefully topple the entire American economy. by bricking the equities markets, by making stocks essentially uninvestable. If you wanted to do that, is that not what Trump is doing right now? And all the other things that we wanted him to prioritize. I think this is so key for people to get. Is I'm not a Kamala supporter. I thought Trump was the better of the two options. We didn't want him to prioritize this. The people like this basement dweller telling me he doesn't care if his food becomes impossible to purchase. That's not the average person. That's not the average household speaking. It's not the average parent asking for impossible to afford food. I mean, it's just a complete ideological 180 from they're angry that the eggs are too expensive to now we all have to shoulder this shared pain. Why do we have to shoulder any pain at all? This is part of the mind virus. When you walk into Target or Walmart or your local grocery store, you don't walk in there saying, I'm looking for pain, like it's some BDSM dungeon. You're looking for pain. That's not really how economic transactions work. There's no active violence, there's no pain when we buy Chinese steel or some other input that we need here because we don't have enough in the US. When we buy microchips from China or Taiwan, there's no loser in that transaction, right? The fact that we have a trade deficit because they have our dollars that we give them. Yeah, but we have stuff in exchange. We get stuff in exchange. So you have like history books are going to be deciphering this level of F up. History books are going to be wondering how did the president of the United States let some pseudoscience, fake economist from Harvard, Peter Navarro, a guy who probably has less money than I do. Think about that. How do you know so much about money if you have less money than a bunch of random YouTubers? This academic, Peter Navarro, who's guiding Trump off a cliff here, off an economic cliff. Uh, I don't see what he sees in this guy. He's not a charismatic thinker. He's not an elegant thinker. Tariff policy is what got us into the Great Depression. And I always wondered, like, did people see it when the train wreck was happening of the Great Depression, right? The October market crash and the years of horrible policy that made things arguably worse and prolonged the Great Depression. Did people ever see it in the middle of it, in the midst of it, when they're on their subway car and reading their newspaper in the morning? Did they ever realize that like all the wrong decisions are being made? And it's a human-made tragedy, right? It's not a thunderstorm. It's not a hailstorm. It's not flooding. It's not a virus. It's a human-made tragedy. It's this guy, Peter Navarro, and this other dude who's equally unimpressive in the grand scheme of things, Scott Bessent, who was George Soros's right-hand man, and Trump picks him to be Treasury Secretary. So Scott Bessent and Peter Navarro, these two unimpressive men, with a sense of economics that's totally unworkable. We tried tariffs. It didn't work. It literally led to the Great Depression. uh, and so you see them walking themselves and the rest of the country off a cliff. And this notion of we need to take the pain. It's fine. It's fine if we lose all these jobs. It's fine if the stores are empty because we need to take the pain. We didn't sign up to take any pain at all. I thought we were going to make things great again. I thought this was the golden age of America. Now we have to take all this austerity and all this quote unquote pain. Why? This is nonsense economics. This is absolute Harvard academia nonsense to think you could just overnight switch to tariffs and everything doesn't get fucked up. It's complete nonsense. And now we actually have seen what happens. So the wait and see people, well, we've seen. It's now April 22nd. We've seen since January a calamitous slide in the value of the national stock markets. It's like we've lost a world war. In terms of the value lost, it's as if the United States has lost World War III. Oh, yeah, this is just the man's bad policies. Where's the visionary? Where is the visionary that you can point to? You know, with Peter Navarro, there's not one video or one clip or even one article. I've really, searched and tried to find this. There's not one clip where he explains his vision and it sort of makes sense. I feel like most things in life are actually If there's something real there, it should be simple to explain. Short of quantum mechanics, I don't know of anything in life where it's too difficult to explain to an adult, right? Where you have to make the argument, oh, you can't figure it out, but just trust me. There's no industry where that's the case. We're all like Star Trek citizens in a sense because we all have access to the internet and real time information. And everybody has some baseline of education, right? People can either read or they know how to search for stuff. And the literacy rate is obviously much higher than in past eras. So we can talk about stuff and we actually know what we're talking about. And so if you ask a doctor to give you a summary of what's going on, or you ask a lawyer to summarize his legal argument or his legal strategy, he can do so. They don't go, oh, I I can't even begin. I can't even begin to explain my strategy to you. That's not what they tell you, right? If you ask the surgeon, so just give me the explain it like I'm five, right? Just give me the ballpark, absolute brass tacks, simple explanation of what this surgery involves. They could tell you in 20 seconds, right? Here with Peter Navarro, he can't actually tell you what he's doing. And again, this collapse of our economy, how would this be any different if we had a Manchurian candidate who was just rushing through disastrous policy to brick the economy? I mean, the track we're on right now is not a good one. The economy is going to be in worse shape. Midterms come around. Republicans get voted out. Trump and Trump's people get impeached. They get impeached again. What's the point of this? Again, it's not the priority that I thought we were supporting. This isn't what Trump talked about on the campaign trail. He didn't say, there's this guy, Peter Navarro, who can barely complete a sentence at Harvard, just some bag of nervous ticks. And this old boomer can barely complete a sentence or can barely do an NPR interview. And he's my guy. This is our guy to retool the American economy. Like, what? Again, the guy has less money than some of the people in the troll box, this Peter Navarro. And oh, that doesn't mean you're not an expert on money. Yes, it does. It literally does. The fact that he has less money than many of the people he's impacting with his policies, it means he doesn't really know what he's doing. And again, I don't see it. I've searched the internet, I've scoured I've scoured every article database I can come across. Where is Peter Navarro just laying out his ideas in a way where it makes sense? Where's the Wall Street Journal op-ed? Here's what we're trying to do, and here's why we need another 100 days to get it done, or whatever length of time he thinks he needs. It doesn't exist, you know? Uh, and all the things that we were clamoring for, justice for the deep state, right? Finally arresting some of these people. There's been not one arrest, not one. We wanted accountability for the COVID era. Fauci is as free as he was under Joe Biden. Fauci, completely free and supported man. I know they ended his security detail. But how about an arrest? Again, not one arrest. Pam Bondi has had months at this point. These wait and see people. I'm literally halfway through my life expectancy, more if you believe that COVID adds a lot of inflammation and stuff and shortens the lifespan depending on how bad your infection was. So at least half my life is over. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of wait and see. I'm underwhelmed. We wanted some accountability for the deep state and lower taxes, and he threw our economy off a cliff. And 12, 13 trillion dollars, it's a lot of money. You'll start to see it in terms of you just don't have as many businesses open. I'm already noticing stores going empty, like stores that are now for lease that were previously in business, shops and stuff, and now they're just boarded up. I'm already seeing that. So again, this person who says you don't get it, we don't care even 1%. I want my food to be more expensive, impossible to buy even. That's the mind virus. Wanting your food to be impossible to buy to own the libs is absolutely the new mind virus. Thinking that economic interactions are things where you should withhold maximum pain to harm your enemy, just medieval kind of mercantile take on economics. And again, as I said on the podcast, prosperity is a shared illusion. right? We have this sense of prosperity in America because we know we could buy anything at any time. Well, if you take away being able to buy anything at any time, you don't have that potentiality of prosperity, and everybody pulls back. The Wizard of Oz reveals the curtain, opens the curtain up, and things aren't that prosperous when you take away all the various inputs. But yeah, this is not what I supported. I supported him over Kamala. But no, I didn't hear on the campaign trail. I'm going to make my total focus and obsession just deep sixing the American stock market from January onward. I'm going to make it my fixation, just deep sixing the American dollar and the US stock market. That's not what I heard. And again, they're still giving kids the vaccines. RFK Jr. is supposedly doing so much, except he's not. They're still selling shitty food at McDonald's. Not much has changed. Really, not much has changed. And you got these guys like Benny Johnson and these pro Trump live streamers who have to go into overdrive with the QAnon style stuff of just wait, it's coming. This sad WWF kind of fluffer pre-show. It's coming. Don't wait. It's coming. Hey, we're here. What more do you want? You got into office. You got the presidency. Many people are hoping you didn't just get it because you wanted to avoid jail, that you actually had a vision for restoring the country. And this tariff shit is not it. Again, we've had months. This isn't a snap judgment. I'm not rushing to conclusions. We've had months. Again, it's as if we've lost a world war. Where'd all that money go? $13 trillion less. Where'd all the fucking money go? What do we have to show for it? So we have some tariff revenues that they're bringing in that they're not even collecting properly. I read they're not even properly extracting it yet. So a few $1 billion coming in and we lost $12 trillion of Americans' money. Like, make that make sense. And again, where's the priorities? Where's the sense of priority? How is wrecking our economy with a bunch of weird academic tariff stuff that doesn't work in the real world? How is that what you heard when we said we want the fucking Epstein list? How is that what Trump's ears heard? We want arrests. Oh, you want more tariffs? We want the fucking Epstein list. Oh, you want even more tariffs? See, that is so not what people asked for. And these weird tweets where they're saying they're going to go after people for having views that are against Israel. That's not what people voted for. They didn't vote for Israel's feelings. So tariffs in the short term might be very inflationary. Might be very inflationary to make manufacturers pay 200% more for their inputs. In the short term, it could be inflationary. And then in the long term, sure, it could be deflationary if nobody has any money. It could be absolutely a deflationary death spiral. But yeah, I see some weird groupthink, and it's shameful. You would expect this stuff from the left, but to see it from the right, people saying that we all need to round together in shared pain. That's leftist stuff. Shared pain. How about no pain at all? How about he said he was going to make us great again, not tank our economy and send us straight into a new Great Depression. But yeah, how about thinking for yourselves instead of this jingoism? Again, the greatest outrage were the price of eggs. And now you got people in my comment section saying they hope food becomes impossible to buy. Make it make sense. And just this imagined grievance, right? These people actually think that if food becomes impossible to buy and if the job market completely implodes, that you're actually going to hurt some random liberal in New York or San Francisco with these policies, that you're actually going to hurt their pocketbook with these policies. No, you're just hurting yourselves. This is a classic case of burning your home down to cook a steak. And it's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Again, talking in terms of economic transactions, we need more pain, like some kind of counter-revolutionary movement. We shouldn't really want to shoulder any pain. We're in the modern age. We don't shoulder pain for our political differences. We don't shoulder personal pain to express our political views in America and in the West. It's just not how it is. So a good leader shouldn't ask us to sacrifice. No, what are you going to do for us? We got you back in the White House when you almost went to prison. What are you going to do for us? This tariff policy, it's not it. It's not the song. It's not the song, folks. And the harder people try to push me on it, the more I see these people with no background in finance telling me it's fucking awesome that our economy is down so much. It turns me off even more. Just pick a new tune. This so isn't it, dude. This is not the tune. This is not the winning soundtrack. And he's doubling down on it. And again, this Peter Navarro, I've yet to find a single clip or a single article by this man that makes any sense. Yeah, maybe that's part of it. It's people who hope they'll have a chance if everything collapses. And these people don't have a chance because you'd be doing it right now. You'd be making your money while there's a civilization. It is so much easier to make money with a functioning internet and a functioning economy and law enforcement. It is so much easier to make money now than in a post Venezuelan style collapse. These people don't get it. They think they're going to be the ones rebuilding and farming and paving the roads. No, they're going to be sitting on the internet saying this is what they voted for. This is what I support. Okay, thanks for sharing your opinion. To what end? You know, this is not what I heard on the campaign trail. Maybe other people don't want to fess up and say that. This isn't what I heard from Trump. I didn't hear get me elected and I'll tank your economy to the worst it's been since 1932. I didn't hear that. So 10 of the worst stock market drops in US history, and 4 of them have been after Liberation Day, or 10 of the drops over 1,000 points. Isn't that crazy? So 10 of the worst drops, 4 happened after Trump announces his tariff policy. It's a fail. It's just not the right soundtrack. And the more he keeps trying to play it and get me to love it, the more I know it's dog shit, folks. And people who call me a shill, I'm actually quite the opposite. I'm actually a free person who, to some extent, is allowed to express myself. And just costing Americans all of our wealth and prosperity and our confidence in stock markets. That is so not the winning formula. And it's not what he promised us, period. No arrests for Epstein. It's not what he promised. No accountability for the COVID era. Where are the Pfizer executives going to prison? Not one. Not one of them. So, yeah, I don't know if I can say it's too bad because I don't know if he ever wanted to do the job. You know, why did he pick Scott Bessent as his Treasury Secretary? Why did he pick George Soros as former fund manager? Soros' former right hand man. You have him run the Treasury of the US. Oh, okay. Well, you're clearly not a conservative then. And it's just very bizarre to throw the economy off a cliff. There's no natural catalyst, no war, no pandemic this time, just policies that seem almost laser guided to brick the American economy, to make it totally unappealing to invest in American companies. And reflexively, these companies become basically non functional, right? It's crazy to me. When you got Jesse Waters on Fox doing all these hand motions to try to explain things. That's the other thing. You should be able to explain simple stuff in a few seconds. You should be able to do that, and you shouldn't need a bunch of hand motions. Like, what's going on here? How is it so complicated? And then China will be brought down, but then we do this. See, that's a sign you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You have to use all those hand gestures. It's a sign you really don't have much substance there. So we're watching our economy and our country go off an absolute cliff as losers on the internet say this is what we wanted. At least be honest. This isn't what you wanted. You wanted our country to collapse with tariffs that make everything unaffordable. That's what you wanted. Why did I not hear that even once on the campaign trail? I heard Epstein arrests. I heard that a lot. I heard still lock her up. That's never coming, right? Uh, and again, this Cash Patel was going to reform the FBI. He hasn't done anything and no arrests. So all you got to do to disprove what I'm saying is, Pam Bondi could go on Fox and actually announce some arrests. Why haven't they arrested any of the people if this Doge stuff is so bad? All the billions of dollars in misspent funds and abuse. If it's so bad, why aren't people being arrested? How do you have this much waste and abuse and yet people don't get arrested? How is it that you walk down to the bank and if you steal $500, they knock on your door the next day? But here you got the track record. You have the trail of billions of dollars being stolen from the government. Where are the arrests? There are a lot of unanswered questions here, folks. And if you're totally thrilled with all this, you're just in a cult.